Everybody loves a bagel.
Yep.
Everybody is fucking irritated by the fact that they've got to concentrate really hard to not drop the filling down that middle bit. Anyone who signed a petition to get Phil and Holly sacked needs a slap. So this is mildly controversial because I'm clearly bending the rules a little bit.
No, not it's your podcast.
It is. Yeah, they're my fucking rules. I'll do what I want. Good point. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Mildly Controversial Podcast. Tonight we are going to go through something that we've done before and we really enjoyed it because basically we're just going to slag a load of people off. So tonight's theme is people who need a slap. Are you ready for this, Baz? Let's do this. Anyone who signed a petition to get Phil and Holly sacked needs a slap. I'll talk you through my reasoning.
Go on then.
And do you know what? I wanted to talk about this a couple of weeks ago, but I felt it needed a bit of time. Do you know what I mean? Because, neither of us are royalists and things like that, but I just thought we're going to talk quite flippantly about something that essentially is related to somebody's funeral. So
yeah,
I'm not a royalist, but I just thought, let's give it a little while, let it settle down for a bit. But there's so much I need to unpack. There's so many angles as to why these people need a slap. The first one is, if you're outraged by someone using a position that they have simply by the person and who they are, if you're outraged by them using that privilege whilst queuing up for 13 hours to bow your head to somebody who in 95 years didn't even squeeze her own fucking toothpaste. There is the irony of that is off the fucking scale, okay? It is just so off the scale, all right? So that's number one, right? People are whinging about somebody using their influence and their privilege whilst literally kind of bowing down to the remains of somebody who was born into a life where she literally didn't have to squeeze her own toothpaste, right? So that's number one.
Yep.
Number two is, I guarantee, before it became a thing, that Philip and Holly did this, right? I guarantee that if you'd gone up to anybody in that 13-hour queue and said, we've selected you out of all these people to go into the VIP entrance and not have to queue for 13 hours, every single fucking one of them would have said yes.
Agreed.
Okay? So that's two reasons, right? The third reason is the same people who are signing this petition to get those two sacked for queue jumping, right? These same people every year will be paying an extra tenner on their holiday to go through fast-track security and not have to queue up with everybody else. Okay? If that's not double standards, I don't know what is. All right? They're using their privilege by paying money to also not have to wait with the common people. I just think petitioning for somebody to lose the job for doing that, even if they did, which they say they didn't, but even if they did do it, petitioning for somebody to lose the job because of that is fucking ludicrous. Right? And I'll give you a kind of a scenario that illustrates it, right? Imagine getting in a time machine and going back 10 years, right? And you go up to somebody and you say, do you know what? In 2022, there's a petition for Philip Schofield to be fired. 10 years ago, people would be going, what? Is it Operation U-Tree? Because do you know what? Him and that gopher, that was a bit weird, wasn't it? It was like, no. It's nothing to do with that. What did he do then? He pushed in front of someone in a queue. Lots of people, but still he pushed in front of people, whether he did it or didn't. I just think the whole thing is fucking ludicrous. And even if you think it's a really, really, really bad thing to do, which I think I've illustrated is pure hypocrisy for anybody who suggests it could be a really horrible thing to do. But even if you do believe that, campaigning for somebody to lose their job is just ridiculous for something like that.
It's one of those things. They are pretty much British institutions, and if this had never happened, nothing would have blighted that copybook. Even when Philip Schofield came out as being gay, and the reasons why he had to came out, he was still pretty much held up in high esteem. And he is, he's a brilliant broadcaster. That being said, I think the whole thing was kind of like put into a different perspective by David Beckham being in the queue and him being, oh, he's so amazing. He's queued for 13 hours. Well, that's because he's got time, right? You know, he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a job anymore, and even if he did, he could put it on hold.
He hasn't got to get a good night's sleep because he's got to be on the telly again in the morning.
And I'm pretty sure that they didn't join the back of the queue, see one of the officials and go, do us a favour. Look, it's me and Ollie. Can we get to the front? But for someone like you said to come along and go, sack them. They need sacking for doing that. They need to get sacked for jumping a queue. And actually, you just pointed something out to me, which I didn't think about. The irony being that they are there being, put in a position of privilege to go and pay homage to someone who's been in a position of privilege their entire life. Yeah, it's rubbish at the end of the day. It's just rubbish.
I think as well, just to make this even more mildly controversial, whoever the no-name, no-face person who put a comment on the internet saying, I can't believe that Phil and Holly think they're better than me. I was like, do you know what? They probably are.
Yeah, but and also
fucking deal with it.
and also that person probably put them better than they, put them on a pedestal anyway by making them celebrities.
Exactly. Like you said, when Philip Schofield came out, the whole nation got behind him and said, "Oh, this is good," and he's like very brave and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I think it's great. I mean, it's he's been respectful to his wife. And then I'm not going to mention any of the rumors and shit that have come out since he jumped a fucking queue. But they involve, I joked before about U-Tree, but that's the sort of that's the sort of rumors that are there, and just like grooming and shit. And I was like, oh, fuck off! Did you honestly wait until a man jumped a queue to come out with this? Whether it's true or not is not the issue. Just like you've held it. Do you know what? I think he's a brilliant broadcaster. He's had a great career over all these years. I really support him in everything he does. I support him in coming out. I know, it's difficult for his wife and kids and all that kind of stuff. But if he jumps a fucking queue, just wait. I've got loads of stuff on him.
My last point of this as well is that a lot of people didn't even go and pay their respects at all. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I didn't decide to go and queue up because do you know what? I didn't want to queue up for fucking 20 hours to go and pay.
Because that couldn't be asked.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
Is what you're saying. So, and I don't think that makes me horrible or disrespectful.
You used to work for her.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole point is that they chose at least to still go while they're working. So yeah, I think it's bullshit. I call it bullshit.
I think a lot of the drama came, like you mentioned Beckham. A lot of the drama came from that, and to be fair, it was pretty embarrassing how much virtue signaling there was from other celebrities.
Yeah.
Who would just post on Twitter, oh, it was so worth the 13-hour queue. It was like, oh, fuck off. You've just seen the stick that Phil and Holly have got, and you just want to be held up in such high esteem because you stood in a queue.
Exactly.
Oh, behave yourself. You're as bad as they are, just for doing the opposite.
Yeah,
do you know what I
exactly.
mean? There's a reason you put that tweet out and mention. You didn't just say, I'm looking forward to, paying my respects or whatever. You said 13 hours in a queue. It was so worth it. It was like, basically what they're saying, reading between the lines of what they're tweeting is, I know I'm better than this queue, but I'm in it anyway.
Exactly.
And that is what all of them did, like Beckham and Theresa May and all them, like kind of they did that. And to be fair, Beckham did it, and he, look, Beckham's a smart guy.
Yeah, classy as well.
He's a smart guy. Yeah. He knows how to market himself all day long. Yeah. He was smart enough to figure out that he would get backlash if he got seen going through the VIP thing. And like you say, he's got so he just went, right, I'll go in this one. There'll be a big thing. I'm bound to be spotted by the TV. We'll do that. And the whole thing of like, oh yeah, we've been chatting and I've been having jelly beans with her and all that. And it's, do you know what I mean?
Sorry, that's a cracking impersonation, by the way.
Is it? That's literally the first time I've ever tried a David Beckham impression. So there you go.
That's amazing, and that's not my
cheers. Well, who knew? Because I fucking didn't. So yeah, all of that was just like I'm thinking, Brand Beckham maybe, and maybe I'm just being overly cynical. But so I'll kind of put him to one side in what I'm saying about other people all of a sudden popping up on Twitter going, oh, it was so worth the 13 hours. you're as bad as the ones who allegedly skip the queue, because you are just basically saying, I know I could go through that queue, but I've decided not to because I'm better than they are. Oh, fuck
Well,
off.
they're kind of going, phew, I'm glad I didn't jump the queue now.
Yeah, I was going to till I saw the stick that they got, but I decided to, I decided to painfully stand up for 13 hours.
Right, before we move on, have you, like, I don't know this, but have you any idea of other people that, like, jumped the queue? Because they haven't been cancelled, have they?
No.
There you go.
And do you know what? I saw this headline, and it was clearly I found out once I was in there that it was a clickbait headline, but it said who queued and who didn't. I was like, yeah, cool. I want to see who else didn't fucking queue.
Exactly, yeah.
And I clicked on it, and it just said the usual things. It said David Beckham, Theresa May. There was I don't even know her name, but her off Good Morning Britain,
Yeah.
and then a load of people I'd never heard of. So you're not telling me, like, so in other words, 3 people I've heard of, and other celebrities I'd never heard of, queued up.
Yeah.
We didn't find out who went through the VIP queue, but either there's a shitload of other famous people went through that VIP queue but didn't get the stick that the other 2 did,
Well, must have done, yeah.
or they just couldn't be arsed going at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
There
who's
you
the
go.
worst out of that then? Do you know what I mean? Is it worse to skip the queue to go and pay your respects, or is it worse to not even bother your ass going at all?
Right. I've said this in the past, that people who drive in the middle lane are deserving of a slap. We've discussed that before.
Yes.
This time I want to mention those fucking numpties that don't know how to merge from 2 lanes into one and then try and act like the police when stopping you getting all the way to the merge point. They need a slap.
I have a very strong opinion on this, Baz, but I want you to elaborate and talk us through your thoughts, and then I will chime in.
So I've done that thing in the past where it says a big sign, merge at merge point, whatever the instruction is.
Merge in turn, I think it is.
But it clearly shows, let's have 2 lines of traffic, and when you get to the point where it goes into one lane, you do the zipper effect. So you just, and we've done it when we've been driving. If you get to a point where a road narrows into one, you just pick your point and you pick the car in front of, on your left or right hand side, and you say, right, that's me. The person you hope behind you slots in. It's not difficult. It shouldn't be irate, but then you have those people that just all pull to the left, and then they go, right, anybody who goes down the outside and tries to get right at the front, fuck those. We're not going to let them. So they pull out and try to stop you getting to the front. Why do people take it upon themselves and go, hang on, I've just sat in this left-hand lane for like 35 minutes and you want to drive past me? Well, it's because I followed the fucking instructions, you idiot. And also there's data which shows if you have 2 lanes, you don't have one long queue. You have 2 queues half the length of the single queue, and it also doesn't back onto down slip roads. So that's my point. You're supposed to do it, and people take it upon themselves to get fucking irate about it. Boils my piss. That does.
I love it when you get cross. Look, I 100% agree with you, Baz. Listen, here's the kicker. What we've got is people in cars fucking furious because other people aren't queuing up.
Yeah.
I think we've stumbled across something here, Baz. It's the same fucking people. We're slapping them twice. How dare you not queue because I'm queuing? I tell you, you're queuing because you're a fucking idiot, right? If there's roadworks in 600 meters, I was about waiting 550, and then everyone let one person in. Exactly. Because exactly to your point, mate. Even if it did, like you're saying, it says merging. Even if it didn't say that, it's just fucking common sense.
Yeah.
So exactly to your point, you've got a massive line of traffic that goes beyond a junction. Now people can't get off. People can't go where they want to go because idiots are queuing up in this massive long line. When you think, well, why are we leaving? Like, there's roadworks in 600 meters. Why are we leaving 600 meters of empty road before anybody does anything about it? And it's usually truckers who see it upon themselves to pull out. Just show a bit of fucking common sense. And everyone looks and they go, look at that cheeky bastard going on. He's not a cheeky bastard. He's doing what everybody else should be doing. You know what I mean? Stop being such a knob. But I think we've stumbled across something here, Baz.
Yeah.
These are exactly the same people who, and maybe it is part of that British obsession with queuing. Americans take the piss out of the British because they love to queue and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we love to queue, but I just think we're fucking obsessed by queues. Oh, I say we, and I mean the nation as a whole. But these dickheads that we want to slap, particularly, they're obsessed with queuing.
Yep.
When it suits them, obviously, because they'll again. If you go to someone who's like 600 meters back there, if a policeman went up and said, "I can get you through this if you want," it's like, "Oh yeah, nice one."
Yep. Good point.
But they don't want matey boy going down the outside lane and doing exactly the same.
It's that thing, and it's almost like, oh, I didn't think of that. Now you're not allowed to do it either.
Absolutely, 100%. So that's it. There's definite consensus on that one.
Yeah, cool.
We both agree on the first two because they are essentially the same people, just some of them are queued up for ages and others are sitting down for ages. Both unnecessarily.
I do worry, though, that because we need to slap all these people, that we're going to have red raw hands, because there's thousands of people that fall into this category, aren't there?
No, I'm going to... do you know what? I've just thought of a merchandising idea. The mildly controversial podcast Gauntlet, slapping Gauntlet. Proper, like out of a suit of armour.
Yes.
Chainmail gauntlet to slap people so that you get a proper purchase on the side of the face when you slap them.
And also it must have a comedy sound effect, which is ka-chang. Good, I'm glad we agree on that one.
Okay, Baz. I want to slap not a person, but a thing. So this is mildly controversial because I'm clearly bending the rules a little bit.
No, not it's your podcast.
It is. Yeah, they're my fucking rules. I'll do what I want. Good point. Okay, I want to slap the fucking aging process.
Oh, okay.
Right?
This is a long one.
It is, but listen, I've said before, and I'll say it again, and I firmly believe it. Getting older is not what I object to.
Yes.
Getting older is a privilege. A lot of people don't get to grow old, so we should never ever wish that we weren't getting older, because the other alternative is not something anybody should wish for. Okay, so that's the caveat in this. It's not the fact that I am getting older. I embrace that, and I fucking love that I'm still getting older. It's the aging process itself, because it creeps up on you. And obviously, at your age, Baz, I mean, it was like. You must weigh up the pros and cons of starting a new box set. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I'm not sure I'm going to see the whole thing. And how many episodes is in it, Liz? Well, we'll have to binge it, because who knows? Do you know what I mean? So, I'm not for a minute saying I don't like getting older. It's the aging process itself, because. I mean, there's the usual stuff like, groaning when you get out of a chair and things like that. But I am relatively active. Obviously, a fitness professional. I do spin classes, so I'm quite fit, play a lot of golf. And, it's not so much those things. It's the first one is the eyesight thing. So, I mean, you wear glasses. So are yours like very focal or... Yeah,
correct,
so,
yeah.
I mean, not a problem for you. But I paid $3,500 for eye surgery, which, do you know what? For distance is absolutely fine. The thing, listen, if there's youngsters listening to this, right, prepare for this, because I'm 48, right, and it started when I was about 44, right? So get ready for this. All of a sudden, you can't read something that's there. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And for those for those on the audio podcast, put your hand up in front of your face. Do you know what I mean? Somewhere. Do you know? Not fully extended. All right, there you go. But then the thing with that is that you're like, oh, it's all right, I'll just move it a little bit further away, which is fine. But then gradually you have to move it further and further away, right? Until it's so far away, a kid couldn't read it. So it's just kind of like there's a sweet spot currently where I can read something. And the sweet spot's about 3 centimeters long. And I've not got to full arm's length, because at full arm's length I can't read something anyway, because I never could at that distance. one of the main things is not just this having to find this sweet spot of where you can read the fucking thing. It's also the fact that my iPhone battery lasts probably about 45 minutes because I've got to have my brightness on absolute maximum. Because it's the only way I can read stuff. I've got to pedal a dynamo to keep my iPhone battery going because I've got to have the brightness so high. It's unbelievable. And then the final one is, I don't remember when it happened, and I don't know where it came from. But I now have what I can only describe as yards of scrotum that I didn't have before. I didn't want it, and now it's here. I still don't want it, but you know, I see a lot about on the internet of tummy tucks and people going to Turkey to fucking ruin their teeth, or get hair transplants. You don't see much about the option for having a sack tuck, do you?
No.
But I would like one because look, it's just. I don't know if people know this. I don't think people talk about. Recently people have talked more. People have been more open about talking about mental health and things like that. I think it's a positive thing. It's a hugely positive thing. I think we need to talk more about what happens when you get older. Because I had no idea. That my testicles would become so pendulous. And it's come as quite a surprise and a shock because nobody told me. They don't teach you this in school. Your dad doesn't sit you down and chat to you about it, but we need to be more open about it. We need to talk about this.
Okay, look, you've caused me to barely laugh there. For the first reason is I'm 7 years further up the road than you, so I've got 7 years more of the aging process going on with me.
Perhaps maybe it's you that should be telling me then, because this has all come as a surprise. Maybe you can be my sack mentor or something like that.
So you say that, but like I've woken up on many occasions going, why did no one ever tell me this was a thing that was going to happen to me at a certain aging process? So I've taken it upon myself now when I meet someone who's probably just before 30, because I always use 30 as that line where things start to happen that don't take you by surprise. It's that thing of where I think we probably should have a responsibility where we start warning people who are just approaching their 30s that, like one day you're going to go and put a sock on, and that'll be the rest of your day in that position. Because and for no other reason. Like you and I are both sort of dabble in fitness. I've been in sort of like following a fitness sort of routine for years and years and years, off and on. But there is a point, and it's happened to me, that one day I went to get ready to go to work in the morning to put a sock on, and then my back locked up. And you're like, hang on. And you're like, hang on a minute. There's no reason for this. I haven't had an injury. There's nothing happened. Just your body suddenly decides to go, well, hang on a minute. Yesterday when you were all lithe and having fun, we're about to fuck that up because something, we just run out of juice or we've run out of lubrication. But stay here for the rest of the day.
I think that's I think that's a different thing that happens when you get older, Baz.
But it's that thing, isn't it? It's like I'm like you. I've enjoyed growing older. I've always said I don't mind growing older. I just don't want to be bent double and in agony, which previous generations have had to suffer with because they haven't had such good advice when you get older. We've got it all now. Like I said, you're 48 and you're a fitness instructor. That never used to be the thing when I was a kid. They're always sort of like people in their 30s or younger than that, like that. But now people are sort of teaching health to younger people by being older, which proves that you've got longevity. It's one of those things that it's inevitable, but it can fuck off because it's not fun, is it? but there's other stuff. It's like I've gone bald, but I now have more hair in my ears than I got in my head. Yeah, why is that a thing? Why can't I have my ear hair transplanted to the top of my head?
It's just cruel, isn't it?
It's
your body going, I'm going to... look, everyone knows I have long hair at the moment. But yeah, it is literally a very elaborate comb over because I'm losing it at a great rate of knots. And it's my last hurrah before I inevitably have to get it all cut off. At the front, not that much. It's getting thinner. And the egg in a nest at the back, that's getting a bit thinner. The rest of it, it's just like where I do have hair on my head, it's thick as rope. It's just really badly distributed. And that's not okay. I don't want it like that.
Suddenly I've got hair on my back. I've never had hair on my back. What does that happen? Like you lose it on your head, and for some reason it grows on your back.
See, nobody ever tells you, Baz, that at some point in your life, your body is just going to get confused and your hair is just going to forget where to go. It's going to get lost. It's going to intend to come out of your head, get lost, and come out of your ears, come out of your toes, come out of your back. It's just like, would you just fuck off and get up to the head? That's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, so I agree. Aging it gets a slap, definitely a slap for me.
The aging process gets a slap officially.
Right, this irritates me because I get it a lot. People who tell you to grow up, but those people that come on the internet and say, "Grow up," are they saying that what you're doing is completely age related? So obviously, I do videos where I do the sort of stuff I do. I get it so often by people my own age, white middle class men generally, maybe not white, but certainly middle class men, telling me to grow up, and I'm like, I never sort of signed on at some point in my life to go that I can't do something after a certain age because only young people are allowed to do that. Those people can get a fucking slap.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's. I didn't realise, Baz, we had grades of slap. You just brought out a cluster bomb of slaps there.
Exactly. I was going to get fucked, punched, and slapped, but I thought I'd tone it down a little bit. I find the whole thing like really weird because we're living in an age now where we can pretty much post stuff up online, and it doesn't necessarily represent you. I don't do transitions when I'm walking down the street. I do them as entertainment.
Yeah, you would if you could.
Oh yes, tell me about it. I'd do one right now, but I'm not able. But it's those people and who are they? It's a weird sect of people that want to tell other people to grow up. And it's not just grow up, but grow up's what I'm focusing on. So yeah. Those people, like you must have had it in certain things in your life. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're 50 now, you shouldn't be doing that anymore. Like, why? At what point are you not allowed to do things because there's a certain age-related period in your life where you have to stop doing them?
I need to point out that I'm not 50. Just
no,
because
right.
I know you just mentioned me and 50 in the same sense. Not that I would have a problem if I am. I'm just saying I'm not. Right?
Sorry, you're 48. Stop doing that, Mike.
There you go. I know it's like I am 50 in 2 years.
You hate that as well.
If you don't understand that reference, listen to one of the previous podcasts.
Mike, how old are you?
I'm 48 years old. No, I'll tell you what, Baz. Ask me again.
How old are you, Mike?
I was 48 years old on my previous birthday.
And you'll be 50 in 2 birthdays' time, won't you?
And I will be 50 in approximately 23 and a bit months. If you don't understand what that is, then you don't listen to this podcast enough, okay? Go and listen to the back episodes and then come back and appreciate this and comment wherever you are that you got that joke. Thank you very much.
Right, tell me about your experience of this then. So what do you reckon?
I haven't really had, and I get that people would say it of you because of like the transitions and things like that. But do you know what? You've got middle-aged people on an app that said like, do you know what? I love it when people go, "Oh, you've done that on the kids' app." I was like, "You're literally 50. You're literally 50. You have a profile on this app, and you're slagging off somebody for being on an app that's for kids." Now, you and I are middle-aged men on an app that used to be, we've got a decent following on an app that used to be very kind of young demographic, okay? It's definitely not so much anymore, but it used to be. So people still say it's a kids app. You and I are on TikTok creating content to entertain people. The middle-aged people who are saying, "Oh, you've done that on a kids app," are on a kids app, in their words, but not creating content. They're skulking around the background.
Ooh.
Why are they on, in their words, a kids app? Okay, we're on here to create content to entertain people and probably to piss some people off. Those people are also on what they describe, not me, they describe as a kids app. Why are you here? Because you're not making content. You're just viewing content on an app you've just said is an app for children. I mean, I'm sure there's nothing in it, Baz, but
We should be careful of those people because they are literally the audience that we're seeking in terms of people that are being outraged by things that they can control.
but not them though. I think it's really funny that they're taking the moral high ground for people like you and I who are creating content to entertain people on this app. And they've come on and they've called it a kids app. That they've signed up, they've got a profile, and all they're doing is watching stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you pretty much, but by saying something you think is going to hurt us, you've pretty much outed yourself as a pedo.
No need to bleep it on our podcast, that's for sure.
No, there you go. I've just said it.
Yeah, but it's that one term, grow up. Because, like, there isn't a book which says you can't do this after a certain age, and only this is only applicable to somebody who's in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s. You know, I've answered these people back with saying, I'm really sorry I don't wear Farrahs and like baggy jumpers and cardigans. Is that how you'd like me to be? And I always say to them, also, what's your end game? What would you want me to be then? How should I like portray myself so that you find me acceptable? There's never an answer. It's just like, yeah, but act your age. Sorry, act your age.
Baz, promise me, I've had an idea. What I want you to do, next time you get a comment like that, do a transition where you jump in the fabulously flamboyant and stylish clothes that you wear. And when you land into a chair in a brown cardigan with slippers and start smoking a pipe.
Right, okay.
Like if you video reply somebody who does that, that would be fucking gold and it would go massively viral.
Well, I'm going to make that just in case it happens then.
I just think that would be that is how you answer somebody like that.
But how do you feel about that sort of term and this age-related thing? Because you're much younger than you are. You act much younger than a man of 48 would be anyway.
Comments like that 100% come from jealousy. 100%. And it's just kind of like, I wish I was cool. I'm his age. I wish I was cool. That's all it is. And it's just like, I wish I had 650,000 followers on an app. I wish I looked as stylish as he does. I wish I'd bothered my ass to go to the gym as much as he had. I wish, and do you know what I mean? And it's just, you've got this miserable fucker who's a similar sort of age, who's like, just like rotting his life until he retires to watch Countdown.
Yeah, but I also think it comes down to like your attitude towards the modern world, because you're that's where you're good at this. This is going to seem like, sorry everybody who's listening, this is going to be a little segment about us, saying how good we are, but you are very current in your views as well. Basically, you've sort of understood that the world as we live in today wasn't built around us. We're moving into this sort of modern term of doing things which are which the same way that our that kids are doing. That can and relate to us, because you don't need to be a grumpy old man. We are both grumpy old men, by the way. But you don't need to kind of just go, oh yeah, I remember back in the 70s it was much better. You're not that sort of person. You understand that technology is better now. None of this would have happened like in the 80s. So yeah, you are a modern thinking person. You've got kids, so you know how to relate to those. You know what I mean?
Look, I remember in the 80s, some stuff was good, some stuff was shit. But
you were a kid though, weren't you? So you have a different aspect of it.
And that's it. It was like, when people say things like, I remember the 70s was better, you didn't have all these paedophiles. Yeah, you did. Yeah. It's just the establishment hid them better than they do now.
Exactly, yeah.
They were all still there. There was loads of shit like that going on, but everyone turned a blind eye. It was okay to be racist. It was okay to be a pedo.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
okay to hate gay people. It was, and now it's not. All right.
Exactly.
So
That's exactly what it
don't
is.
so don't look back on the 70s and the 80s with like dewy-eyed kind of rose-tinted glasses and say, "Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it? Oh, I remember everyone was salt of the earth and you could play in the street and all this." There was a lot of shit as well, so just
Exactly.
like
It just didn't get reported.
don't pretend that didn't happen. So yeah, I think we're agreed on that one, Baz, because you clearly feel it, and I just think anyone who looks to someone on the internet who is having more fun at the same age as they are, and then says, "Grow up," because I'm fucking miserable and I want you to be miserable too, 100% needs a slap.
That's the perfect end to that one.
Hurrah! I would like to nominate for the next slap whoever invented bagels. Whoever invented them needs a slap. You're a dickhead. And look, and don't get me wrong, I love bagels. We've got them in the house all the time. I enjoy eating them and all that kind of stuff. But whoever sat down and just went, do you know what? I've just invented something here, right? That I think it's a goer, right? It's going to be round, like I'll do like kind of conversation between two people. Yeah, I've invented something. Have you? Yeah. You know those bread roll things? Yeah. Right. Well, I've got this idea. We're going to have something very similar, right? But it's got a hole in the middle. Isn't that going to prove problematic when people try to spread things on it? Oh, yes, absolutely. But I don't give a shit. Because when people try and spread stuff on it, it will gather in a big fucking lump in the middle of that hole that is unnecessarily there. But I don't care. I'm pretty sure that's how the conversation went, Baz.
Right, so listen, this made me laugh wholeheartedly because the moment you mentioned bagel, I was like, I know where we're going with this one. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on this. I love a bagel. Like, even just buttering them is difficult because you have to go round the edge. Like with a bap or a balm cake or a bread roll, you just slather it on if you're going to have butter on it. With this,
Yep.
you got to be careful. The only thing that I've sort of found that you can do with a bagel to make it usable is to get a cheese slice and just slap it in the middle. It literally just turns it into a bread roll because it's a layer that stops it falling in the middle.
Do you know what, Baz? I think I've just literally, in the last 4 seconds, invented something that could be on Dragon's Den.
Yep.
It's like a little cone that goes up that you sit your bagel on so you can just be slapdash about your filling and just go, fuck it, I'm going to just butter everywhere because that's going to sit on the cone and I'll remove the cone and I have a perfect bagel.
It's such a bizarre thing though, isn't it? Because like bagels generally are exactly like a bread roll, as you just said, but they're fucking awkward, aren't they? It's like, and don't get me wrong, the actual content, the density of a bagel is what makes it nice. When it's warmed up, you put butter on it and it becomes crunchy on the outside. It's soft. But yeah, it's maddeningly when you put stuff in the middle and you go to take a bite and it all just squeezes up through the middle onto your nose.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you see. As a fellow owner of a moustache, that's just impractical. And I get the whole point of like, I did a bit of research today. I knew they were boiled. I didn't know why they were boiled.
Yeah.
Right. But apparently they boil them for about a minute before they put them in the oven. So it makes it crispier on the outside than it is on. I get that. That's brilliant. And I can even from that see that the reason there's a hole in the middle is that you don't have this big soggy fucking lump in the middle because you want. I get that. But the same could be done by making it the shape of like a ciabatta or something like that. You know, the same thing, or a mini baguette, or other bread things that fucking exist and are easy to spread stuff on. Do you see what I mean?
I'm 100% with you on this one.
I get the fact that you have to make it. That hole's got to be there so that you don't have this soggy lump in the middle, which would make the whole thing pointless. Make the whole boiling process pointless because you can't boil all the way into the middle. So I get that, right? But yeah, make it straight.
I haven't realised how much a bagel irritates me until you've brought this up. Because I've just lived with this like many other people have. And there is always that thing, like I said, getting back to putting the cheese slice in the middle so you can then put stuff and don't worry about the bit because you can just scoop that out. Like there must have been a point where someone went, that's going to irritate somebody at some point, isn't it? It's going to irritate lots of people who are just used to bread.
I'm convinced it was the guy who invented them in the first place. I'm done with people enjoying their bakery items. I'm going to invent one that'll just really piss them off. And this is what I've got.
It's almost like the complete opposite to a crumpet, where you've made something that's got holes in it, where the butter just drops into all those holes and oozes out the bottom. It's like, so the bagel is like the complete opposite to or even a muffin. Do you know what I mean? These things are designed to soak up all the butter.
The thing I like about a crumpet, now we're on it, the thing I like about a crumpet, it's like a butter hive.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a fucking butter hive.
It's a butter hive. You fill it with butter and enjoy. A crumpet is the polar opposite of a bagel because a crumpet is designed for you to just pour molten butter into all those little areas there and create your butter hive and then enjoy it. And do you know what? If it dribbles down your chin, you don't give a shit because you're enjoying it and you made that happen. Whereas with the bagel, you don't need to be under pressure when you're making your breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
But you do. You've got to fucking dance the butter and the peanut butter around this circle. And if you get it wrong, yeah, it's not the end of the world. But you just get a slab of stuff in the middle that you didn't need there.
Well, it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? So, arguably, one of the most famous sort of like bagel fillings is cream cheese and salmon.
Yes.
But you literally have to lay it round the circle, don't you? Whereas on a back, you just slap it in the middle and then you put the top one on and you get into it. With this one, you have to kind of, even if you're having cheese, you have to put the cheese around it so it doesn't fall in the hole. And it gets back to the crumpet, where the crumpet's got so many holes, you just put it on. This one, you couldn't do it because all the butter would fall straight in the big hole in the middle and be on the chopping board of the plate.
I think to sum this one up, Baz, crumpets are very accommodating and they do a job that a bakery item needs to do. A crumpet basically says, bring it on. I've got loads of fucking room. Come on. Just like, get it on the knife, fire it over. I'll take as much as I can. The rest stack on top of me. Do you know what I mean? That is what you want. Whereas a bagel's gone, be very careful. Teeter around the edges, but don't drop it in the middle.
This is possibly one of the best mildly controversial things we've ever discussed because we've both, and I think it's massively relatable because like nobody ever really thinks about how stupid the design of a bagel is until you actually have to sort of build one.
Mate, everybody loves a bagel.
Yep.
Everybody is fucking irritated by the fact that they've got to concentrate really hard to not drop the filling down that middle bit. But like I say, I love bagels. I eat them every single day.
Yeah.
And which means that they are brilliant.
Yeah.
Because, go with me on this one. I don't eat much fish because I like the taste, but the bones irritate the fuck out of me. So I don't eat much of it. Whereas the hole in a bagel irritates the fuck out of me. But I still eat lots of them because they're very, very good. So that just proves that bagels are amazing. So I'm not slagging bagels off. I'm just saying whoever invented it to be in a round disc instead of just a straight line, you're a prick and you deserve a slap.
Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Many thanks. Baz, I am officially slapping anybody who posts in a Facebook group anything like, my kid's got a rash, does anyone know what it is? Right? Because that's not how to parent. If you're worried that your child's ill and your child's potentially got fucking meningitis or something, right? ring 111, NHS Direct, ring 999, ask them what they think. Don't go on the internet. And there is a proviso on this, Baz. There is a kind of a caveat, right? If you are in a Facebook group that has got paediatric surgeons and dermatologists in it, go ahead. Okay? Under those circumstances, feel free to ask people in the Facebook group what's wrong with your fucking kid. All right?
Yeah.
But if it's not, if it's just like parents of Salisbury, do us all a favour, right? If you think your child is ill, ask somebody who is an expert in ill children, not somebody who just also happens to have a child. That's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? Facebook isn't meant to be used for that way. And do you know what? I'm going to go further just to make it a little less mildly controversial. These sort of people don't just need a slap. They potentially need a slap and their kids taken into care, because these parents aren't looking after their kids. But I mean, whose first thought when they look at the kid and look at the rash? You mean a rash? If I see a rash on my kid, I'm straight to the fucking cupboard for a glass. Like, I know what to do.
Yep.
Press it with a glass. Do you know what I mean? And check if it's meningitis and that. My first thought is not, oh, I wonder what Brenda on Busy Mums from Surrey would think about it. Do you know what? I'm going to take a picture and I'll post it in that Facebook group, see what they think. Because everything's going to be either, like, half of them are going to go, oh, it looks all right to me. And the other, it's like, for the love of God, contact a fucking medical professional. Because they are going to be there.
Yeah.
Half of it, they're just going to, what the fuck are you posting that in here for? Contact a medical professional, you idiot. So there is going to be some voices of reason in there, but you will get loads of people going, I'd put some Savlon on it, me. Do you know what I mean? Which is no help at all, because that kid could be dead tomorrow.
So I have seen this myself at first hand, like we all have, and so I've seen the posts where, like you said, someone's gone, like little Johnny's got this horrible rash on his face, or he's coughing really violently. What should I do? But the point of this is where it sort of breaks down a little bit, and I've seen all the comments that go, like, as you just said, oh, I'd probably seek medical advice for that. You don't want to be posting it in here. But I've also come to this thing of seeing, well, so if you go to a doctor, they'll just fucking Google it anyway. And I've seen it firsthand. I've been to the doctor where I've gone, oh, I've got this, and they go, right, you've got this, and they Google it, and you're like, well, fuck, I could have done that.
Mate, are you sure Are you sure your doctor's a doctor? Was this a doctor that when you went in one day for your annual prostate exam, some guy had drawn a lucky ticket and gone, right, I'll do it.
He's hot desking for the day, so yeah. He's actually an accountant, but so I know this. I know this at first hand to be true because it's been backed up by other people that've been to doctors. So yeah, doctor. But I think the difference with doctors is they've got a bit of knowledge, so it's to steer them into the possibilities of what it can be, rather than them having to sort of diagnose it incorrectly. So I get that, but it does vary though. So I've done this before where when my dog was ill, I went onto a dog group. So rather than having to go to a vet's, which, let's be clear here, are fucking expensive. So if you go to a dog group, and we both agree on this, people who own dogs and dogs are generally sort of like people who have dogs care for their dogs and they know it. Yep. So I've been on a dog group before and put on here, like, these are symptoms my dog's got, and you'll get some good advice because I think the things that happen to dogs are quite common across the board, and people are quite caring. So that's the only caveat I'd say is, like, you can do it on certain things, but there are levels, like, as you said, your children, humans are still more important than dogs. We've established that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I don't mean, sorry, any dog lovers, but that is the case,
I'm a dog lover, and I also agree.
Yeah.
It's fact. I don't even care if my two dogs hear me say that, because they don't understand fucking English. So it's another, they don't understand language more than the odd word. Do you know what I mean? So No, I have no qualms about my dogs hearing me say that, because if they heard me say that, they'd still come up with a big sloppy smile and a waggy tail, right?
Yeah,
Because they haven't got a clue what I'm talking about.
I've had this situation where having a sick child, and the first thing that we all go, oh, it's meningitis, because that's the thing that it's,
Yeah.
when you've got young children, that's the first thing that always comes up: temperature, blah blah blah.
Yep.
I didn't Google that. I went straight to hospital.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, I don't want to waste time finding out the 30 things it could be. So yeah, I agree with you completely. There is, and I think it's that weird thing as well where people kind of go, oh, I might turn this thing into a bit of a drama by announcing it to the world.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's the same fuckers who will tag themselves in a hospital and not put a status.
Yes.
Jesus. I was like, could you be any more needy? Do you know what I mean? And then someone will say, oh, are you all right? I'll DM you, hun. Oh, fuck off. I'll tell you what, I was about tagging yourself in the hospital if you have to, but say, it's not serious, I've hurt my foot.
That's exactly what I've done. I've tagged myself in a hospital post for a scheduled operation, put on a big sad face, got Liz to photograph me and gone, I've put the face on deliberately so you can all ask what I've got wrong with me. But I'm all right, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's a resounding yes for me. Slap those people.
Lovely stuff. They're officially slapped. That's us for another week. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
I think it's worth saying, though, Mike, that if people do disagree with anything we've spoken about tonight, they probably deserve a slap.